It's your boy Zay-P, Zay-P that I am. I am that I am, as you are that you are, for we are all that we are. From the individual to the many, from the many comes the all, and the all is one. And we're back with a brand new video connected with my favorite intuitive connection artist specialist. I don't know how you would deem her, but the awesome and incredible Bronwyn Davies is joining me. So thank you.
Thank you. I love doing these. They are
So this
awesome.
is a great opportunity for anybody watching this to be able to see the process of doing a connection, and they can reach out to you directly to learn more about that. So I would definitely put your information in the video description below. Allow myself to follow the lead and connect as deeply as possible.
Just go in as deep as you can and then let me know when you think you're as deep as you can get.
As deep as I can get.
Yeah.
Okay. Mhm.
Can you feel Merlin's energy?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Okay, so take a couple more deep breaths. And this time really focus on going inside. Now, if you can just call him in and let me know if the energy comes to you in any form.
He's here. I hear him. He
He's
just came.
sorry.
He's lecturing me because I said I couldn't feel him.
I love that.
He's saying that seeking, always striving, always trying to achieve, always trying to attain something, when it's simply just the act of creation. There's an element of decisiveness with all of this. And you may hear or feel or even imagine a certain thought and choose to go against that, choose to doubt or hesitate and declare that something unworthy. And then there are those who actually recognize that that creation is what it is and moves forward with it. When you say you could not connect with me, you did not feel my energy because you were doubting what you were feeling, you were hesitating. And the ego, as always, seeking, always striving.
Are you able to see him?
Yes, he looks like
Okay.
a professor, or not even a professor, um, like a elementary school principal.
Okay.
I feel like a kid at school.
He's got like it's almost like a parental energy. Is that
Teacher.
teacher? Yeah. Okay. That would work. Okay. So I don't really know anything about Merlin at all, other than maybe what I saw in a Disney movie. So,
Uh,
sorry. Can you
uh,
give it?
he hates
Can
me.
you give me a background? Like, who is he? When did he live? What did he do?
So the idea of Merlin is an amalgamation of many different ideas and many different aspects of historical figures. There was historical figures that actually helped form the basis and foundation of that which Merlin has become. On top
Okay.
of that are the legends and the tales, fact versus fiction, and the beliefs that men and women, mankind, humanity has chosen. All come together to form the construct. Some will call that collective agreement of this figure, persona, who happens to be a figurehead for what many would call magic in your world. Now, this is the overall collective consciousness, a collective agreement as to what Merlin is. And the true
Okay.
historical figures of Merlin is that of a man which journeyed here from a faraway land that came to teach and share the wisdom of certain truths of this world and helped to cultivate many influential aspects of your reality today, helping to build kingdoms, though not in the ways that the legends suggest, helping to influence the influential, and teaching many in cultures long ago the secrets of alchemy, of illusion, of creation, of matter manipulation, all these different aspects and elements of magic. Not just the four elements, but there are many other elements beyond. And so I am that which you perceive to be a figurehead for magic, the archetypes of your own ability to tap in and access, be magic.
So when we talk about magic, or people talk about magic when I hear it, I'm always a little bit skeptical because I haven't seen actual magic occur
Yes,
as
yes,
in,
because you walk around in your worlds with your fairy tales and your imaginings of
yes.
flashing lights and whispering fairies that sprinkle glitter and create
Yeah.
puffs of smoke, and voila, the
So that
show.
doesn't
You
exist.
always want the show.
So that doesn't exist. Or how would
That
you
is
define
part of
magic?
the show. There's always a show. All doings have an aspect that the observer can witness, yes? If I
Yes.
was washing dishes, if I was doing some other benign thing in your experience, you would witness it. How I do
Yes.
those things is another matter. Do I do it with a flair? Do I do it with some showmanship? This one
Okay.
likes to dance while washing dishes. It can be quite entertaining for another person to watch as he dances and washes dishes. Yet somebody else can wash dishes and be miserable, and you look over at them and you will feel nothing but misery. And where's the magic? In what you feel as you witness and observe them. That simple changing of your emotional energy right there is magic. Your world tends to want to define and label things, and they think because they start to get a glimpse behind the curtain, they start to get an understanding. Oh, this is this, this is that, this is this. Now I know how that works. Now it's science. It's
Yes.
less miraculous. It's less magical. But no, it's still magic. You've just gotten a glimpse behind the curtain. And the glimpse that you've all gotten is so minuscule to what is. There's magic
Okay.
everywhere.
So can
All
I
you
get
do is
woodland
just
animals to clean? Like,
To clean what?
Like in the
What are
Disney
you expecting me to clean,
movies?
first of all?
No, woodland animals, like in the Disney movies. That kind of magic.
Yes. To clean what is the question? What are you expecting them to clean? Could they clean your house? Probably not.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Well, no. Okay. So, what
Would you
would be?
want to be able to enchant them and put them under a spell to clean your home, to clean your house?
Yes.
There were times and possibilities where the collective would have allowed for that. Your current restrictions under that collective agreement make it very difficult to break the confines. There are some in areas and pockets of isolation so far removed from collective agreements that they may create such experiences within the privacy of their own boundaries. This is the idea when you think of all of those mythical tales, and the wizards will create pocket dimensions. It's just going someplace private and not in breaking the agreements, the collective contracts, and choosing to allow yourself to experience something other, and then really having the knowledge of how to attain that, of how to create that. But then when we go back and assimilate with the rest of your reality, should you share those experiences, many will just deem you crazy. Magic.
Yes. Like the so that staircase. Oh shoot, I don't know the name of it. With the nuns, the floating staircase. Would that be an example of it? Of magic?
The floating staircase. Hmm.
It's somewhere in South America.
Is this
They
like a
built this.
visible bridge?
Yeah, they built a
Yes.
church and they forgot to build the staircase. And they prayed, and a man showed up and he required privacy to build this
Mm-hmm.
staircase. And the staircase is winding, but it's not supported. And to this day, the staircase is standing and stable.
Mm-hmm.
And it defies science.
Mm. That is a beautiful example of magic. But that is not to say there's not an explanation that could be reasoned or understood at some point.
Which is what we're doing now. We're understanding things.
This is always the process, right? Going deeper to understanding, seeing further behind the curtains, getting more of a glimpse of your reality. In that sense, that aspect containing a beautiful alchemical mix of both faith and science. There's architecture, there's structure, there's rigid physics in the idea or construction of a stairway in general, and in the construction of this particular place, this particular region. Now, with that, there's a lot of your, what we would say, 3D physical rules, your physics, the
Hmm.
ideas as you've come to understand them. Then we have other layers like the faith, and again, coming to this space of privacy, this space of allowance for the disconnection of the collective reality experience. Here, this is why you'll hear stories about monks who have actually managed to levitate themselves, different
Hmm.
things of that nature. This is a very similar experience. However, the manifestation of, say, something that levitates versus something that may seem to levitate and not be understood, that is that dichotomy between the myth and the reality, right? To
Hmm.
to believe that it is magically just there, uh, hovering without explanation, and to not recognize that there is explanation and logic behind it, right? There are forces, particularly when it comes to magnetics, and when we experience the physical and the non-physical come together and cause combustion. This causes repellent forces. This is easy to create um, what you would call levitation, or what you would call that hovering and that uh, ascending like perspective, where something will look like it's floating or even flying because there's repellent forces, as opposed to, say, just solely a gravitational force. It's just that one pulling, right? But if you have another body and you create generating another force that is different, that is of a different polarity or of a different scape, such as a non-physical um, or non-physical or metaphysical expression of magnetics, right? Um, versus your physical reality, magnetics, rules of magnetics, they're going to repel. So in your physical reality, magnetics say um, opposites attract, right? This is why you put batteries, positive to negative, opposites attract.
Yeah.
Uh, in metaphysics, like attracts like. In both realities, they do not exist the same. And if anybody with what you call common sense would look at it, would say, well, these two statements really conflict. Where's the truth? The truth is that one is pertaining to metaphysics or maybe metamagnetics, whereas the other is pertaining to physical, your basic physics, your basic magnetics, magnetics as you understand it and as they expressed here in the 3D. Now, as things shift through dimensions, they tend to twist and turn and they express differently in a different dimension. And this is why here opposites attract, and yet in a different vibration, like attract likes. Now, when these forces can come together in the same space or the same time, where there's no collective agreement that says this cannot happen, then you might create something that has a repellent force, or generates this idea of levitation, because the two are almost working against each other, right? So this is one possible explanation behind the floating staircase. But this is something that happens a lot of times with many people who have experienced levitation, and um, there's even technology behind it, where you look, a lot of the conspiracy theorists will talk about the alien spaceships, and I think there are military stuff that is being exposed. There's all sorts of information out there that talks about this. So this is how things might look like from the outside perspective, almost a show. This is amazing. We don't know how this could ever happen. Magic. And then how to understand that once you finally be just open your reasoning and logic and start to see more behind the curtain, yes, you may formulate a logical conclusion. But both are true in that space and time. And this is why these things tend to happen in the private bubble.
So we have the tools. It's
Oh, you
just
have
about
the tools,
learning.
but excavating them out of your cells can be quite difficult.
Yeah. And out of the environment, right? Out
Excavating
of
them in general. Out of the
in
environment, yes. But it all starts with the tools and resources,
yes.
both which you'll find within and in your environment.
Is the
Very
collective
interesting.
is the collective agreement the veil?
It's part of the veil. What you have something here called the willing suspension of disbelief. This one knows very much about it. They talked about it in his training in the theater, the arts. And it is the concept that your audiences will choose to dis suspend their disbelief for the sake of the experience. They go to a movie, we
Oh,
know, this is not real, this is all movies. We're going to suspend our disbelief and allow ourselves to become engrossed in the movie.
right.
Likewise, this idea can be expanded into further places. I'm sorry. I am losing my train of thought and I'm coming way out of this connection.
That's okay.
Can we go deeper again? I know
Yep.
I have no idea where he was going with that. So, when you come in, when you incarnate, there's an aspect to yourself, to your soul, that willingly chooses this veil of forgetfulness in the sense that willingly chooses or assigns to or assimilates to this collective agreement. In a sense, the soul's willing suspension of disbelief, or this soul's rather willing suspension of recollection. Recollection. Make sense?
Yes, it does. It absolutely makes sense. So how come for some people the veil is thinner than for other people? And
Yes. Some of you have specific missions and specific purposes in which you need more access or less access to certain memories and certain aspects of yourself. So you're going to no one comes in with the same amount of veil over their eyes.
okay. And how long have you been with Zay?
Mm. The idea of Merlin has been with him since he was 14 or so, since he first started learning about legends of uh, your King Arthur and other legends. At this time, he had a bit of a fascination for myths and legends, and so he became engrossed and heard many stories from different cultures and different experiences. And he never really felt was connected with an idea of the Merlin per se, but magic, magic is a theme that has always played throughout his life. And I returned to visit, or rather to begin working with him consciously about 4 years ago.
Okay. So he
Although
was
it seems
was
like a moment ago.
was he born conscious and open, and has he been open his whole life?
You are all born conscious and open. No, he was not open his whole life. Much like the baby spot at the top of your heads, you're all born with this open spot, this conscious opening. This is what that spot is actually. And when you come in, that is open and you are open. And then it closes and you start to close. And you get cluttered and clustered with a lot of the conscious knowing of the collective bargaining agreement, so to speak. And so you start to assimilate to the rules of the place that you're in. And the rules as they're expressed, the rules that they're taught as you've learned them just from watching others, your parents, your peers, your teachers, all of that. And then you go through the process of the uncovering or the rediscovery of self, coming back to that openingness, that still point within you. But this is after you have gone through the layers of dirt that become caked upon you in your life. And so Zay's undergone this same process, just like all others, as you are, as he still is. It is a process.
Okay. Just one more question. How can parents preserve that sense of the true self in their children?
How can parents preserve?
That
Repeat.
sense of knowing.
Remind them.
Sorry.
Remind them. Continue to engage in the conversations. You'll notice the memories start to drift and they start to fade, but as you continue to engage in the conversations, the memories, the innate knowing will become just a secondary support system in your lives. It'll become something that does fade to the background, but you will always know that it is there because it will always come out. It would be almost second nature to them, as though it's something they don't have to think about. It's just like when you drill manners into your child. Say you constantly are reminding them to say thank you when somebody offers them an act of generosity. You are reminding them to be mindful of their germs. You are reminding them, and you repeat this process and repeat this process. Eventually, it starts to become second nature for them to say thank you when they receive something, for them to cover their mouth when they're going to sneeze in someone's face, or for them to just do these acts or gestures of kindness because that conversation, that reminder has been had with them. The same thing goes with their own knowingness and their own connection. As long as you start to talk to them about it, you start to explore these ideas and concepts, although that deep, deep, purest knowing may seem to fade, it will be there in a second nature aspect to their consciousness. It'll
Okay.
be part of the way they think consciously. It'll be interwoven as opposed to this distinct idea that they keep separate away from themselves in their day to day, as many of us do. We do this because we've learned throughout our lives to keep so everything separate and distinct, and to not have
Hmm.
this involved in that. But if you remind or continue to have the conversations with your children, it'll always be a theme that becomes ever present underneath. What do I really feel? What do I truly know about this? I've talked to mom about this in the past. You know, it'll just become innately second nature.
Did you teach children? Because
I teach everyone, dear. But yes, I've taught
okay.
many children, many children. Yes,
Sorry.
I I consider you a child. I consider this one a child. So there you have
That based on maturity level, or
it.
okay. I consider myself a child sometimes too.
Yes,
um,
you know you are.
so is he. I think everyone is.
Self
Um,
awareness.
yep, yep. This is awesome. I have like 1,000 more questions, but I do have to end it. So I just wanted to say thank you very, very, very much. Um, yeah, this is
Thank you,
awesome.
dear one. I appreciate you engaging me in this conversation. We will do it again sometime
Yeah,
soon. You connect
yeah.
and discuss it further with this one. And I look forward to more communication.